Welcome everyone to this week in Svelte, and I will definitely hear me back. Welcome everyone to this week in Svelte, and let me mute myself here. Okay, sorry guys. Like, I'm still learning this OBS stuff. I don't know if, like, can you still, like, please let me know if you can, for example, hear the background music and stuff like that. For the second time in a row, I started the streaming on the wrong stream, so you got double notification. Sorry for this. Today is also like the first community showcase that we will do with this week in Svelte after the switch to OBS. So I hope that everything will work out, but we'll see. We are here to learn, so let's jump right into the changelog. Which we have a pretty big release, and after that we can go over our community showcase. So let's start with the changelog. So we see ensure non-matching elements are scoped for not selector. So yeah, the not selector is causing quite a bit of trouble because obviously, like, to see if something is used that it's using the not selector, it's a bit annoying, right? It's a bit backward. Like something it's used, if it's inside a not, it's just used when like you're actually not using it. So it's a bit weird. Ensure video elements autoplay in Safari. Yeah, the usual trouble of Safari, which is the new IE. Actually, to be fair, like, let's be fair, like, it's a bit of a middle ground, right? Because Safari is shipping a lot of feature for CSS and stuff like that, but and Firefox seemed to be lagging a bit behind. But then, like, Safari also has a lot of weird bugs and stuff like that. So it seems like basically either you are Chrome or you are IE. I think also Edge, it's a good browser nowadays, but we can see. Ensure trailing multi-line comments on props produce correct code. Basically this is if you are migrating and you have trailing comments, also with multi-line comments, the migration was basically leaving them behind and actually producing wrong code, but now it is not. Correctly infer a tag namespace. Wait, by the way, like, I never know how to pronounce the a tag because it's so short, like the a tag. It's very difficult to pronounce. Usually I just go with the anchor tag. So basically the point is you can actually use an anchor tag inside an SVG. And if you're using an anchor tag inside a component and outside you're using an SVG, the namespace for it will not be, might not be correct. And so if I remember correctly, Simon worked on it like by looking below. So if you have some other SVG elements below the anchor tag, it will actually infer correctly the namespace. Check options. Sorry, I'm starting to yawning again. I don't know why. Check option namespace for top level Svelte elements. So again, it's all about namespace, which, by the way, is one of the most annoying stuff about the DOM. The fact that you can have a namespace with, like, namely the SVG namespace, and it can really, like, mess with your structure. Ensure migrate keeps inline trailing comments in $props type definition. This is basically like the same thing as before, but this is, you can see, like, this is the issue comment, blah, blah, blah. So this actually, I think, was a different, change set, but it's actually the same PR. So update link in JSDoc. So inside JSDoc, there are links to documentation, and now they link to the proper thing. Ensure Svelte map and Svelte set works with generators in dev. So generators are a pretty cool feature of JavaScript. And I guess you could, in theory, initialize a Svelte map, a map and a set with a generator. And I guess in dev it was not working with Svelte map and Svelte set, and now it is. Only output the key for each key duplicate. So this is the error, and it was basically publishing more info than you need to find the wrong key. It was outputting like the value. I'm sorry, guys. The key and stuff like that, but actually you only need the key to find the thing that you might need to change, so that like it will prompt you with a more specific error. Prevent migrated snippet from shadow snippet prop. So this was a bit of a weird one, but basically if you are if you're doing something like this, let me actually show svelte.dev/playground. Let's say that you have a component like this. So inside a component, you are rendering a component, and then you're using this a slot. So you are basically rendering the slot from this component as the slot of this component. So if you have, we also fix it for children, but I don't think it's already published. So I will show you with this. Let's say that you have a label like this, and you want this to be on the slot label. So you want the name label, like this slot named label from app.svelte, to be put inside the slot named label of component. So this is basically slot forwarding. When you migrate this code, now it's actually using a derived, because before what it was doing something like this, label without derived. But the problem with this is that inside here, label is actually this snippet. So it was creating an infinite loop. And so now the trick that we use to properly migrate your code is that we add a derived for the thing that renames it. And okay, I don't know why I keep yawning so much. And now we render the label render inside of that. So we can migrate your code better. So blah, blah, blah. Pass along anchor in legacy class wrappers. Okay, so I need to open a window, as possibly. Capital Condiment saying, or rename it in the prop definition. You can't actually rename it in the prop definition, and I'll show you why. Because while we are migrating the code, you could, so let's say that you have a component, and so let's back to slot name is equal label, slot is equal label, right? So the reason why you can't just rename, so by this, like in a simple situation like this, we could do something like this and remove this, and this works, right? But there are more complex situations, like for example, let's say that you are doing $$ slots dot label. When I migrate this, like the migration script is actually accessing, like it's changing $$ slots label to just label, because that's what you get, is the snippet label. And obviously this happens before we even touch the snippet label, and before we even touch the render here. And so basically what's happening is that, oh my gosh, sorry. You should then go back and rechange these and rechange these, which it's a bit like it can get pretty hairy. So this is like the simplest solution that doesn't break the code. And sorry that I'm making you yawn. Legacy class wrapper. Let's go back here. So basically, you may be aware that now class are not function, like components are not classes anymore. Now they are functions. To back compatibility, we also export a as class component. Oh my gosh, I need to get, I don't know, I need to get some sleep. We can pass along the anchor in legacy class wrapper. So you could set a different anchor and it was not passed along in legacy class wrapper, and now it is. Recognize all custom element prop definition. This is another weird gotcha of custom element. How long have I been up? Like, how long have I been awake? It's not been that much, but it's a stressful period. Okay. Migrate multiple declaration with only some exported correctly. So this was another gotcha of the migration script. So let's say that you have something like this. Export. So in Svelte 4 code, let's say that you are declaring multiple variables. So this is something that you can do in JavaScript. So let A and B, and then you could do something like this, export A, right? So by doing this, basically you are declaring two variables, A and B, and you are just exporting one variable, which is A. So this is actually a prop in Svelte 4. But only A is a prop, and this like weird way of declaring props was not was not accounted for during the migration script. So now if you migrate, is actually correctly migrating this, but before it was messing and creating wrong code. Error on TypeScript read-only modifier. So basically, like if you are using a read-only modifier, which is something like this, I want to show like this. So if you had something like this is actually erroring out, and now we are actually showing you a better error than just fail. Remove scoping for not selector. So again, as I've said, the not selector is actually creating a lot of problems, but we are fixing them one by one. Let's see, ignore as type expression on property definitions. This is still another thing. So basically the problem is Svelte, it's using a TypeScript parser to allow you to use TypeScript without a preprocessor. So inside the script tag and inside the template, oh, I'm sorry guys. You can use TypeScript because we are using a TypeScript parser, but the TypeScript parser does not generate code. So basically we are erroring out if you try to use something that TypeScript will generate. So if you try, for example, to do lang equal TypeScript and use enum stuff, cool, for example, right? Now we are erroring out saying that TypeScript language features like enum are not natively supported and their use is generally discouraged. So outside of script tag, those features are not supported, and to use within script tag, you should use a preprocessor. So basically we were wrongly showing an error for this kind of stuff, for sconst. Because sconst is not generating anything, it's just like denotating something for TypeScript. So this basically removed that error for sconst. Restore active reaction if then block throws. This was also pretty weird. So basically, the problem is if we are using an await promise dot resolve like this slash await and then x. Obviously, under the hood, we are actually awaiting this promise. We are denning this promise, and if this promise throws, we are catching, because if you are using a dot catch, we need to pass you the error, right? So what happened is that if by any reason, if for some reason something was erroring out inside, like this, for example, right? So this is an error. So as you can see, like this is an error that is thrown in this part of the code. And obviously, like it looks like it's in the template, but actually like it's inside JavaScript for Svelte. Yeah, and it's a dead person. And so when this error was thrown, basically the effect that is keeping track of like updating the text content inside the den was never restored, and is just like if you were always inside an effect. And this meant that basically if you had a problem like this, after you had this problem, whenever you modified the state, it would yell at you. So, but we fixed it, so no need to worry anymore. This is pretty cool. Like this is something that Dominic worked on. Basically, there is a legacy mode flag now, and obviously, like we are doing all of this for you. Like you don't have to do anything, but basically, if your whole application is using runes, and so you don't need legacy mode because you don't have a single component in legacy mode, and it's all done automatically. Basically, the whole legacy bundle will be tree shaken away, which is super cool. Like this was a genius idea from Dominic, and it's actually pretty clever. Basically, the moment you have I want to show you. The moment you have the moment you are not in rune mode but in Svelte 5, we are adding an import to this Svelte internal flag legacy. And this file is very, very simple. It's just, let me show you. Yeah, it's this. Like, it's just exposing this legacy mode flag, which is false. And so this is the flag, and importing this file means that this flag is set to true, but by default is false. And by using this flag, this variable, inside the Svelte codebase, whenever we are accessing the legacy mode stuff, if you never import this file will keep being false. And if this variable is false, rollup will tree shake away all the legacy code. And it's super duper cool. So yeah, that was it actually. We probably release some new version soon. And by the way, I want to show you something because it's pretty interesting. So let me go to the Svelte repo, svelte.js/Svelte. If you, by any chance, want to try new features and stuff like that, and like you are waiting, for example, you are watching a PR and you say, oh, I can't wait for them to publish this thing, we set up package.pr.new. So for example, this is a bit of a spoiler, but also go there and provide feedback. But probably next week we will talk about error boundaries. So Dominic added error boundaries to Svelte. This is still a PR, so it's not merged yet. But you can go here and you can already install this version of Svelte by doing pm add package.pr.new/svelte at number of the PR. And this is also true for every branch. So if you want the latest version that is on main, which is yet to be published, you can use at main. And the very cool part is that you can even have, like, if you go in any PR, basically, you have a link to the playground. So if you want to try it out in the playground itself, you can use PR dash and the number of the PR as a version in the playground. And now this is actually using, so I can show you, like if I do Svelte boundary, it's not complaining because now this is using that PR as a compiler and as a runtime and stuff like that. So if you want to try out stuff, you can just do it like this, which is pretty cool. So I think that's it for Svelte. Let's see if SvelteKit has something new. So fix when using Vite.js plugin basic SSL, set as no proxy config to downgrade from HTTP2 to TLS since UNDC is not yet enabled HTTP2 by default. Yeah, I've heard Dominic talk about this, and this is something way above my pay grade. I don't know what he's talking about. Warn on invalid cookie name characters. So this was something that basically SvelteKit published a breaking change by error last time, some times ago, because basically the cookie parser that we are using actually published a breaking change because they now follow the rule that like a specific spec for cookies. So in theory, you cannot have a colon, for example, in a cookie name. So by upgrading that library, we basically shipped a breaking change that we promptly reverted. But now, since we will migrate to that in the next measure of SvelteKit, we are also warning you if you have some cookie name that does not match. Update broken link in JSDoc, same thing as before. Update link in JSDoc. Add helper to identify action failure object. So pretty nice. You can have a type helper to identify objects like that. There is also a new version of the language server, and so like a new version of the Svelte extension. So feel free to upgrade because now basically first, like, there is a better prop completion on, even if they are complex type, you will also get a prop completion. Copy global types into hidden folder. This was basically, like, for some reason Svelte VS Code was actually loading some .d.ts, which was just used for global stuff inside the repo. Keep linked editing working when tag name contains a dot. So if you have a tag name with a dot, in Svelte 5 is actually a component, is treated as a component. And if you were renaming with F2, it was not working, and now it is. Now there is a rune mode indicator. So if you're inside a file, you can basically, you get a small lens on top of the file that tells you, okay, now you are in rune mode, now you're not. And this, like the glob file watch, basically like the thing that we are watching and stuff like that. Autotype cost load is equal to this declaration. Oh, this is pretty cool. I didn't know this. So now if you have const load and then you export const load inside a pluspage.server, you're actually getting the thing, the right type, even if you are not directly exported. Provide component instance type in Svelte 5. So this was something that was pretty annoying to do before. So since now components are functions, if you have something like this, import component from component.svelte, and you wanted to store it inside, so you want something like this, component bind this C, for example. If you wanted to properly type this in TypeScript, you had to do something like let C is equal return type type of component, like this. And this was very annoying because obviously it's a lot to type, but now you can actually go back to just use this because we are doing that for you inside the language server, so it's fine. Blah blah blah. Other runmos indicator, infer object and array shapes from fallback type. So if you pass a fallback, we automatically infer the type from the fallback. Your exported variable declaration that aren't simple identifier when checking for valid SvelteKit export. Oh, this is also pretty cool. So if you're trying to export something from a pluspage.svelte.server.ts, for example, it will actually kind of type check it. Like if you export a random name, it will actually warn you. And I guess this was picking up something that was not a simple identifier. And so it was problematic for some reason. I don't know. I need to check that. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's basically the same thing as before. Yeah, same. Broken release, don't use. Yeah, prevent. Yeah. Oh, there's also SV, use base 32 IDs in Lucia add-on. So SV is the new CLI, and as you may know, you can bootstrap, and you can also add, for example, Lucia out. Now, since Lucia out is not actually a library anymore, RIP, but Pilcrow did actually the good thing, because like he just basically switched to a guide, and basically what this is actually like following the guide and generating the code from the guide for you. But Pilcrow is also like contributing to Svelte by saying, okay, I saw that you're doing this, I updated the guide, and it's constantly keeping the thing updated. So pretty cool. Okay, so I think that's it. So let me switch to another view because I want to be in guest. So I don't know. Like please tell me if please tell me if this is actually working, because I don't know if this is working. This is Bruno, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is Bruno, and so today is going to present us with. There is a bit of echo. Oh, let me see. Maybe I should mute myself. Is it better now? I think Bruno now cannot hear me, but I guess at least
I cannot hear you anymore.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let me just like warn him. Okay. Yes, Bruno. Since it's echoing, I'm muting myself. So sorry.
Okay.
But I will, like, if you keep an eye, when I disappear, you can start talking.
Okay, great.
Okay, guys. So basically, Bruno is here to present us manifest.build, which is a simple way to build your backend with just a YAML file. So let me actually phase myself out so that he can talk about it. So, okay, Bruno, it's all yours.
Great, thank you, Paolo. Thank you. Hello, everyone, Svelte community. Thank you for having me here. So we're going to switch sides and going to the backend a little bit to present you manifest, which is a backend that whole backend that fits into one single YAML file. So we're going to do a quick review of the project and do a demo. So the manifest story starts with a research study we did with a bit more than 100 front-end developers to ask them about their relationship with the backend. And we found out that most of the front-end developers receive backend tasks on a regular basis. So for some of them, there's no problem. Let's have a backend team, backend developer around to give that task. But I think for 40 or 45% of them, it was a bit struggling because either they were rejecting the task because they cannot fulfill it, or taking the task and do it, but without so much confidence. Because some of us are full stack, some of us are only front end, or maybe full stack with the front end orientation. And sometimes when you start going into those backend tasks, even for a really tiny task, you really enter into a whole new world with a lot of complexity. Inside, everything is new. You have to learn a lot of new stuff, and sometimes you end up just losing your time, and that's it. So if you recognize yourself in those sentences, maybe you will like manifest. So the idea is to keep it super simple. It's a single file. It's a YAML file. So we went to find the simplest language we could find. It's not even a programming language. It's like HTML. It's like markup only. And the point is to bundle that with backend essential features and to make it open source. So you will like it if backend is not your cup of tea, or if it is and you want to gain some time developing, right? So we're gonna try this out. There's an npx script that I'm gonna run on the background. It's a Node.js based backend. So what's a complete backend? Different bricks. You have the database, which is need if you need to persist the data. Manifest has also the REST API that comes with a Swagger Open API documentation, an admin panel to your non-technical users, so you can give it to your boss, your client, that non-technical person, because you will not have any problem because you cannot break anything from there. And then key features from backend. So we're talking about authentication, authorization, validation, file storage, and so on. There's also a JavaScript SDK if you want to import it, but you can also use it as a REST API like the traditional way. So we go back to we're building the database right now. So manifest is what we call a backend as a service. The idea behind backend as a service is to give you a proper backend without having all the infrastructure hassle. So having all those features pre-installed and to let you focus on what you are doing. There is many of them. So it's currently we have like some like Superbase, Firebase. I don't know if you may heard of that. They're pretty common, and some more no-code oriented. Most of them is like really good products and really good to use. The difference between Manifest and the others is like you have almost nothing to learn, right? YAML is a straightforward language, and the idea is like really put something that feels like natural language. So the moment. Let's wait a bit, or if not, I can open the demo on StackBlitz. So the StackBlitz demo is like the playground in Svelte with a bit more loading time, I guess. I'm gonna present it here because for some reason it takes more time than expected on my desktop. So this is the backend.yaml file. So this is the anatomy of a manifest project when you are in it. It's the package JSON, README, and so on. But the core of the project resides here in the manifest folder. So you have the backend.db, which is the database. It's actually a SQLite database, but you don't really have to care about it because it's really abstracted. And this is I don't know if it's big enough to see. Gonna zoom a bit. And this is the YAML file. So in that healthcare application, we have entities with doctors, patients, cities, and you can see every entity has its properties with relation. For example, a doctor belongs to a city. I guess it's a one-to-many relation, many-to-one. And then you have typings, right? So if you go to your back office, I'm showing the small version here. You can see that I have my doctors. They're there. Can create, upload images as I will do like in a normal backend. The point in here is like you can just like nickname, let's say, you can just add the properties very quickly, and you will see that you have that live reload that give you exactly that. So you can see that you have different types. In here you have the let's see the documentation about the types. So you have different property types that are more real world oriented. For example, you have the money, that's a numerical value with 2 digits after the comma. So it's really like easy stuff that you don't have to build by yourself, right? Choice, which is an enum where you can pass some different values that goes like this. And then you also have the the image storage in here. Just 1 second, please. It's better if I show you on the local one. So yeah, you can see the nickname that appears here because we just added in there, and then you have other stuff that you can go with. So I'm gonna check if this one works. It's better to show you the one. You also have some validation that you can put in here. For example, if I want to put the nickname, let's say the nickname in here, I'm gonna put some, for example, min length 30. And now I have my nickname. So yeah, so this is like the value must be at least 30 characters long. You also have, the storage that I may want to show you, and then obviously the API. Not sure if you can get it here. Yeah. So this is the Swagger. Now it's called Open API, I guess. That was generated with the the file we had in here, right? So you have the doctors, you have the patients, the cities, and the other ones that are more for authentication. This is generated only by this file, and this is something that you can use, in as a classical way in your application. Um, I'm gonna, I think, just leave it like that. Just a few words about the project and the roadmap. So Manifest is still in beta version. It's a project that you can and follow on GitHub. So it has been out for a month. You can follow it starring on GitHub if you want to follow the project. It was created by Sebastian, my associate, and me. So we are two developers from a web agency in France, and we are adding new stuff like frequently. So we just added this week some cool deploy guides to deploy on the popular cloud providers. And currently we are working on some integration with the full stack frameworks like Svelte, also like Next.js, to improve how you can combine, manifest if you want to gain some time on the admin panel on the CRUD endpoints, and then add your custom logic, because as you see, manifest is really good for standard logic, but at the end of the day, you often have to, I don't know, create a new endpoint to do some custom logic, some aggregation of data, and so on, and you can connect it with some backend framework or full stack. So if you want to give us a hand, we are looking for some front-end developers or full stack developers that use those kind of features like static site generation or API endpoint in SvelteKit, for example. So to do some user research. So if you're interested, so you can take some contact us through Discord, our Discord, and take some time together to understand that. And that's it. Thank you everyone. I've finished, Paolo.
I'm here. Sorry, I don't know why, but video the ninja, as I've said. I guess you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
So I don't know why, but video the ninja. Every time I remove myself, it actually also remove both my video and my audio. But you know,
I can see now.
hear
I
me?
can
Yeah.
see now.
And I guess you're not hear me twice, right? So guys from YouTube, let me know if you hear me echoing, because I disabled my mic, and I guess that should be it, so that now he can listen to me, and also you can listen to me. So we had a question, and there is a visual way to build your own backend, or is just editing the YAML file?
It's just, yeah, good question. It's just editing the YAML file. There is some no code or visual tools that also have the same, I guess, the same aim. Our approach was to keep you working in your editor, right? This is it's not better or worse. I mean, at the end, it depends on what your preference are. But manifest come with something that you can, you know, keep stay within your editor, and then also add your files, in your Git, in your source control, to have them as real code and not as something that was generating with a UI.
Yeah. And but I mean, and also at the end of the day, it's just YAML, right? So maybe there is already some visual tool for editing YAML that you probably can adapt to also.
I have to figure out. Yeah, I have to figure out, because there is some JSON schema that puts you some syntax highlighting if you do
Okay.
it on your browser, and some nice pop-ups. But yeah, from there you can know all the possible values, and yeah, probably if you need the UI, build something on top of it.
Yeah. By the way, like I think this is pretty interesting, and especially because, like at the end of the day, um, it's true. Like for more complex application, you probably want to like fine tune your endpoints and stuff like that. But like for basic CRUD application, this is pretty powerful because like it's much easier to just build something. You also get the OpenAPI spec from it, so it's pretty interesting. Like you can use basically the OpenAPI to also like integrate with your front end team if you maybe have a front end team. So it's pretty interesting and great work.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. So I will switch to no sound because I need to remember to re-enable my mic. But what I was saying is, I hope that you are not hearing him, and in the meantime, you are not hearing me. So, I mean, guys, bear with me. I will get good at this in a couple of weeks. So, bear with me, please. So, I mean, that's it. We've been together for 1 hour. As usual, I speak way too much. So thank you guys for keep up with me. Sorry for the big mistake initially, but we're getting there. We will get to use OBS and stuff like that, and I'm planning to also use like add some nice stuff to this OBS setup. Thank you for staying with me. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed this week in Svelte, and I'll see you guys next week.